Hallo und herzlich willkommen. Mein Name ist Philipp Heck, Head of Presets and Customer Success. Und in diesem Video sprechen wir über ein ganz wichtiges und sehr häufig vernachlässigtes Thema, und zwar das Thema Datenqualität. Viele diskutieren darüber und kämpfen tagtäglich mit schlechten Daten und auch mit schlechter Datenqualität. Doch nur die wenigsten machen ihre Datenqualität sichtbar und wissen überhaupt, wie gut oder wie schlecht sind denn meine Daten im Unternehmen. Mit dem neuen Pentaho Data Quality Tool machen wir genau das sichtbar. Wir als größter europäischer Pentaho-Partner dürfen Ihnen exklusiv als allererstes das neue Pentaho Data Quality Tool vorstellen. Bevor wir jedoch ins Detail gehen, starten wir erstmal mit den Grundlagen. Was genau ist eigentlich Datenqualität? Die 5 grundlegenden Säulen der Datenqualität sind Genauigkeit, das heißt, ja, wie sind die realen Entitäten, die die Ergebnisse widerspiegeln sollen? Wie ist die Vollständigkeit der Daten? Es bringt ja nichts, wenn man nur einen halben Datensatz hat oder bestimmte Datensätze fehlen. Wie ist die Konsistenz der Daten? Ist das denn widerspruchsfrei zu anderen Datensätzen oder zu anderen Datenpunkten? Passt das alles zusammen? Wie zuverlässig sind die Daten? Wie vertrauenswürdig sind die? Wenn ich schon mal mit falschen Daten gearbeitet habe, dann habe ich so eine gewisse, ja, Unverlässlichkeit und eine gewisse Skepsis gegenüber den Daten. Und natürlich zum Schluss, wie relevant sind die Daten? Sind die für meinen Zweck, für eine Entscheidungsfindung genau die richtigen Daten oder brauche ich eventuell noch andere Daten? All diese Aspekte müssen in mindestens ausreichender Qualität gewährleistet sein, um die Daten sinnvoll zu nutzen und verarbeiten zu können. Doch warum haben so viele Unternehmen Probleme mit der Datenqualität? Datenqualität wurde lange Zeit vernachlässigt. Das Thema steht oft nicht im Fokus und ja, ist natürlich auch sehr aufwendig und bedeutet auch sehr hohe Investitionen im Hintergrund. Das zweite ist der Mangel an Struktur und Protokollen. Es fehlen klare Richtlinien und Standards, was zu einem großen Datenchaos führen kann. Der dritte Punkt sind steigende Anforderungen durch die Verschmelzung von Datenqualität und Data Governance. Die Unternehmen müssen immer komplexeren Standards und Audits einhalten. Die Wiederentdeckung des GIGO-Prinzips, Garbage in, Garbage out, bedeutet, schlechte Dateneingaben führen natürlich unweigerlich zu schlechten Ergebnissen. Und ja, leider bleibt keine Branche verschont. Die Probleme mit der Datenqualität betreffen alle Sektoren, alle Branchen, unabhängig von der Spezialisierung. Wie unterstützt Pentaho Data Quality Ihr Unternehmen bei der Verbesserung der Datenqualität? Als erstes hat man eine ganz benutzerfreundliche Oberfläche. Man sieht auf einen Blick, wie geht es den Daten? Sind die Daten gut? Sind die schlecht? Wurden sie verbessert? Wurden sie verschlechtert? Wie sieht das Ganze aus? Das Ganze klar definiert nach einer prozentualen Regel in einem ganz klar definierten Dashboard. Das ermöglicht dann natürlich eine verbesserte Entscheidungsfindung. Das heißt, auf guten qualitativen Daten kann ich natürlich deutlich bessere Entscheidungen treffen. Das Ganze kann ich real-time anzeigen lassen. Das heißt, ich kann auch erkennen, wie Daten, wenn es beispielsweise einen exponentiellen Anstieg der Daten gibt, kann ich direkt darauf reagieren. Das Ganze in Kombination ist natürlich, bietet ein sehr hohes Vertrauen in die ganzen Daten, was natürlich auch jedem Compliance- und Governance- oder jedem Audit standhalten kann. Wie das Ganze in der Praxis funktioniert, zeigt uns Nikhil in einer exklusiven Demo des Pentaho Data Quality Tools.
Yeah, so this is the homepage of the platform, and we are hosted on AWS Managed Service on a cloud. And a user can log in just by using the URL, username, and password. So the login process is really simple. And as soon as a user logs into the platform at the highest level, uh, he can connect to a data source really seamlessly and completely agentless. So if I just click on this plus icon from the top right corner, this will show me a subset of all the connectors that you can connect with. So these are the data warehouses, data sources. You can connect your data source here. And now, for example, if I want to connect with Snowflake, I'll just go ahead and click on Snowflake, and all I need to put is I can name my connection, put the account ID, select the warehouse, select the database, authentication type. It can be username and password or key-based authentication. And once I put the username and password, I can validate it. And once the connection is validated, it will ask me to select the schema. And inside a schema, I can select the tables. Now, while selecting the tables, there can be two kind of sampling I can do. I'll be showing you that real quick. So the sampling can be done either on the number of rows or on the number of columns. Now let me quickly open a connection here. Now, once everything is set up, once the connection is validated, I can select the schema from here. So these are the schema which are part of this database. And once the schema is selected, it will ask me to select the tables. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, so these are the different tables which are part of those schemas. I can select these tables. And in a platform, we just ingest the metadata. So we are not ingesting any original or client data at any point of time. Now I can do the sampling while ingesting the metadata, and that can be at the column level. So I can select the specific columns, whatever I want to ingest, and I can left the leftovers, which I think are not that much useful. Now the sampling can be done, as I told you before, can be done on rows as well. So using this incremental feature here, for any sort of transaction table with a column with date, time, data type, we can use this incremental feature where you can select the depth of how much data you want to ingest in terms of date or time. So for example, if I just select this table here, I can select the depth in terms of number of days, and only this much data will be metadata will be ingested in the platform for the further data quality purposes. Now, once a connection is made, the next important step is to go to the quality tab and see these out of the box measures. Uh, and the platform will auto run and profile all these out of the box rules, and we have over 50 out of the box rules or measures which are distributed in the four key areas. And those four key areas are reliability, distribution, frequency, and statistics. uh, Now, as soon as the metadata is ingested or a connection is made with the data source, all these 50 rules will be auto applied to the metadata. Now we have these four areas under reliability. For any sort of anomaly that occur at the table level, or for any sort of measure that are captured automatically, we have these four measures. These four measures, they will apply for at the table level. These are duplicate, freshness, schema, and volume. Now these define themselves by their name itself. So duplicate counts the number of rows, which are identical on the basis of primary key or composite key or any other foreign key. Freshness computes how up to date the data is. Schema is the total number of columns, and volume is the total number of rows. So if there's any change in the schema or volume, the platform will automatically detect that, and on the basis of the sigma deviation, it will generate alert for the users. Now, if I just quickly move to the distribution tab here. Yeah, so under distribution, all the measures, this is basically more tailored to stewards or analysts. They might be concerned for particular business use cases around character distribution, frequency, or statistical checks. All the measures which are part of distribution, frequency, and statistics, they apply at column level. Uh, they basically determine how whether columns have null counts, space counts, inner, leading, or trailing spaces. So basically, how the data is distributed in the columns in the table itself. And again, these toggle can be turned on or off on the basis of the requirement, but these are all out of the box available. So no kind of manual intervention is required while making a connection. As soon as the connection is made, all these rules will auto apply. Similarly, we have other few rules which are part of frequency and statistics. The rules which are part of frequency, these are used for determining the pattern uh, in the data set. And the rules which are part of statistics, again, they are used to discover the pattern, but these are more specific to the numerical data type columns. And all these rules, they apply to the numerical data type columns such as float or int. Now, once the quality tab is done, once the connection is made, we can all, the next step is to go to the semantics tab and create your semantic layer. So in the semantics layer, you can create domains, you can create terms, tags, applications. So basically, domain is if I explain the concept, domain is basically a grouping of similar kind of tables, where you can group similar kind of tables, and you can create these different kind of domains. These domains can be department specific for organization, or these can be industry specific. Uh, in the similar way, term is the logical grouping of similar kind of columns, right? So domain is the grouping of similar kind of tables. Term is a similar grouping of similar kind of columns. And once a term is attached to the columns, you can create a measure for that term, and that specific measure will be auto applied to all the columns which will be attached to that term. So for example, inside this customer domain, You can create a term. They can be a common column such as email for hundreds of tables, right? And you want a same or a similar data quality rule which should apply to all the email columns. You can do that using the semantic layer. So inside this customer domain, we have this email term here. You can define a term. You can define the synonyms or contains here. You can in fact define the pattern. So on the basis of the pattern of a column, this email term will auto attach to that column. Now, for this term, you can create measures, as I told you before. For example, here we have created this business domain check. This is a very simple measure which we have created, but you can write queries as well, SQL queries, and create a data quality measure for this term. And then once this term is attached to the columns, this specific measure will auto apply to all those columns. This is how the semantic layer works in the platform. Now, once the semantic layer is made, you have created the domains. The next and the most important part is to go to the dashboards and see the visualization of all these rules for your data. How these rules are working for different type of assets. These assets can be tables, views, or query. Now we have three out of the box available dashboards, and these are discover, measure, and observe. And these dashboards, these are specifically designed for different personas. Now, for example, if I open this observe dashboard here, this is specifically designed for data engineers to understand the remediation process and the number of alerts that are occurring at the rule level. Now you can see these issues and alerts here. Now alerts are basically the initial notification that says, hey, there could be a possible data quality problem. And from these alerts, an issue can be created, an actual working ticket with all the relevant information. Uh, we also have a lightweight inbuilt system for issue management in the platform, but you can also integrate with any other ticketing, enterprise ticketing solution. It can be Jira or ServiceNow or any other ticketing solution. So once these alerts are generated automatically, and from these alerts you can create these issues, an actual working ticket on which an engineer can work and remediate the issue. Now we have different sort of widgets here, which basically determines or shows how the data is distributed in terms of, or how the data is performing in terms of these specific four measures which I showed you before: duplicate, freshness, volume, and schema. So this is kind of a trend analysis chart. This is a historical heat chart which gives you again an idea of how the data is performing, again in terms of these four measures which apply at the table level. And these widgets, these are totally customizable. These dashboards are totally customizable. You can create your own dashboards from scratch. And once you are creating your own dashboards, you can create your own widgets as well. So let me show you how that works. So from here, you can create the dashboards. A dashboard can be created from blank. You can name your dashboard. And once a dashboard is created, you can use these widgets. So we have over 40 widgets which are part of the platform. But if these are not solving the purpose, you can create your own by using the simple drag and drop UI in the platform. So you can apply filters from here. These filters can be across connections, across domains, across assets. And once you have applied the filter, you can create your own widget. For example, if I want to see the issue status in the platform right now, I'll just drag and drop issue status in the x-axis, and then from the measures I'll drag and drop issues in y-axis. Now this shows me the issue status in the platform right now. So we have 81 new issues, 9 in progress, and I can save this widget from here. I can also drag and drop something in the breakdown. So for example, if I want to drag and drop this issue priority in the breakdown section, I'll get the updated view. So now we have right now 70 high priority issues, and these are the new status right now, so on and so forth for in progress and resolved. So this is how the dashboards are. We have two more dashboards. Let me quickly show you those as well. So this was about the observe dashboard. Now the measure dashboard, it is specifically designed for data stewards or data governance teams. They can come here and define these scores by the concept of domain, tag, application, and term in the semantic layer. And then they can see the visualization of how the scoring in the platform is at the domain, tag, or application level. This overall quality widget, it basically shows you the overall data quality at the platform level, and then
Mhm.
how the data is distributed in terms of accuracy, uniqueness, validity, so on and so forth. Now, scoring can be seen in terms of domain, tag, terms, applications. So there is one, I'll say the most important widget which is part of this dashboard, and that is this organization widget. So this basically gives you the average score at the platform level. This also shows you how many assets are there in the platform right now, and then how this average score is determined using these scores. So now these assets are distributed in different domains. Now, for example, this pharma domain, this has average score of 82.2%. It has 17 assets. I can just click on this plus icon, and now this is showing me the score for the specific assets or tables. So basically, this helps in determine the lineage of where exactly the issue is occurring. I can just detect the issue from here, and I can just click on the table itself or the column. So this is scoring at the table level. Now, let's say I found that doctor's table has less score as compared to other tables. I'll just click here, and now this shows me the score, average score for the columns. I can just click on a column here, and this will take me to that column, and I can directly work here, and I can determine what exactly the issue is, and I can, uh, you know, improve the score. So this is the complete flow. Now the you can also see the view at the table level itself. Now, for example, this is the home page. From here, you can go to assets, attributes, alerts, issues, or conversations directly within a click. You can also search for an asset from the search bar. Now, but for example, if I just click on this assets here, this gives me a glossary view of all the assets which are part of the platform right now. And from this left pan, I can again do the filtering on the basis of application, connection, assets with alerts, without alerts, with issues, without issues. Now, for example, if I want to open a table here, let me quickly search for it. Here it is. Now this is the overview page of an asset. So from here you can add this table to a domain. This is already added to airline domain, but I can add a common, basically asset to more than one domains. I can define the primary key here. So if a primary key is already defined in the in the source, I'll not be required to basically while making a connection, the platform will auto ingest that primary key. But if a primary key is not defined at the source, I can define a primary key from here, a primary key or a composite key. Similarly, I can add application here. Now this is a semantic discovery which automatically detects for the term. So once you have created the terms in the semantic layer, you can run this semantic discovery from here, and this will give you the suggestions. So basically, this phone number is a term, and the platform is giving you a suggestion to either reject this or accept it. If you accept it, this phone number will be attached to a column which is part of this table. Now, if I just quickly go to the properties tab here, this shows me the complete view of the table in terms of the average score, in terms of schema. So basically, how many columns this table has, what's the volume, freshness, and duplicate. Now, this list of attributes basically shows the number of columns, and it also in a single screen, it basically shows me or shows a user of how the data is distributed in terms of fill percentage, null percentage, blank space, so on and so forth, average score for each column. Yeah, so you can also run the jobs or the out of the box measures at the column level by just a click here. Now, for example, if I quickly open a column here, let's say this one, departure city. So now this is how it shows me how the data is distributed in terms of in terms of completeness, uniqueness, space, and character count for this specific column. So it has these many non-empties, null space, and empty count, both percentage as well as the actual number, in terms of uniqueness, repeating and unique values, spaces, and characters. I can also go and see the frequency count here. So now this automatically detected the length range of the data which is part of this, of this column. I can change this length range according to my standards. Let's say the city count, the city length should not be above 15. I can just go ahead and make it 4 to 15. And whenever entry which is not in the range that comes, that entry will automatically be invalid. Now, this is specifically about the length. This is the value frequency in terms of how many times a value is occurring in the data. So basically, it gives you an idea of how standardized your data is, and you can mark an entry as valid or invalid just within a click. So let's say, there can be two different names for Paris. In one P is small, in one P is capital, and if it is detecting both the cities as different cities, I can mark one as invalid. So I can just go ahead here and mark it as, toggle this off, and it will be marked as invalid. Now if I quickly go to the pattern tab here, so now this shows me the short pattern as well as the long pattern. So this is the short pattern. A stands here for alphabet, S stands here for space. If I just click on this plus icon, now this shows me the long pattern. So this basically helps in determining the pattern of the data which is part of the table. So a user can go ahead and see the pattern. This helps in columns such as email, where a special character should be there. If a special character is not in the column, you can mark that as invalid from here as well. Now, if this were this, specifically for numerical columns, this test is, there should be one more tab here, which is statistical. Let me. So basically, that shows you how the data is distributed in terms of statistics. What's the mean, what's the mode for that specific data. Um, yeah, this ticket price is a numerical data type. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, so this is how the statistical tab looks. It gives us the minimum, maximum range, and uh, a standard deviation from the mean kind of a view here. Now this is all about the measures which are applying at the column. So we had four more measures, right, which apply at the table, and those four were volume, schema, freshness, and duplicates. Uh, so as I was saying, it looks for any change in the volume or schema count, and as soon as there's a change, it generates an alert, and based on that alert, you can create your issues. So for example, this is the trend for the volume for this table. Now, as soon as there was a change in the volume, volume initially was 500, it was changed to 550, and then again reduced to 500, the expected range. And it's totally work on machine learning, so there is no manual thresholds or any manual working here. Everything is, as ML is learning with each run, and on the basis of that, it is determining the expected range. And if the actual value is not in the range, on the basis of deviation and the percentage change, it is generating the alerts. These alerts can be low priority, medium priority, and high priority. And from these alerts, you can create the issues from here. And again, you can teach ML using these actions. So let's say low priority alert or high, any alert is generated, and you think that this alert should not be generated, you can just mark it as normal, and you can mark a normal entry as outliner. So from the future runs, for these entries, for these kind of entries, ML will learn, and it will not generate alert if it should not, and if it is, it will generate alert if you are marking a normal entry as outliner. But you can create your own measures as well. So you can create your own measures by using the conditional UI in the platform. So this is the UI using which you can create your own measures. You can select the attribute from here. Mm, So once the attribute is selected, you can use these conditions, is equal to, is less than, or any other condition. And you can also validate your rule from here. Now let me quickly show you an example if a rule is already created. Yes, here it is. Yeah, so this is an example of a rule, how a simple rule using the conditional UI you can create. So basically the arrival city should be London, the departure city should be equal to New York, the ticket price should be less than or equal to 1200, and we can validate it from here. So we have three entries which are determined, which are basically following this condition. We can mark it as valid or invalid, and on the basis of that, it will determine the data quality score for this rule. Now you can also create your more complex rules by writing the SQL query. That can be done as well. Let me quickly show you an example of that. Again, this is not a very complex query, but you can write queries which can be across tables, cross-referential queries where you are using conditions across tables, across databases. That can be done as well using joins, different types of joins. But this is a very simple query where, again, we have just increased the conditions, where the city is London, but the departure city can be New York, Paris, or Toronto. And we have a few more conditions. I can validate this query from here. So these are the entries which are satisfying this query. And on the basis, again, on this valid toggle, it will determine the score. So this is all about DQLabs. I believe I am on the time. We have a lot more things to discuss, but let me quickly summarize what and all we have seen. So all in all, this platform is very holistic and to deliver the reliable and accurate data. The concept of observe, measure, discover, and remediate is what we have focused throughout the short demo. The platform is made really for business users and data engineers to help automate the entire workflow from a data quality and management perspective. The connectors are completely agentless, easy to connect. Dashboards are fully customizable. The rules are baked into the platform as well as semantic terms, and it's fully no code. So if even a business user, if you don't know SQL, they can come here, create their own rules using the conditional UI. They don't need to be SQL or Python expert for that. Yeah, so I think that's all I wanted to show as part of the short demo.
Nikhil, thank you very much for your presentation. It was great. It was a great insight for the new Pentaho Data Quality feature. So thank you very much. So now I switch
Thank you.
back to German. And ja, vielen Dank. Schauen wir uns ganz kurz nochmal die Fragen an. Ich bin noch ganz, also es gibt ja ganz neue Möglichkeiten mit so einem Pentaho Data Quality Tool. Wenn wir jetzt gucken, ganz am Anfang von unserer Datenreise, erstmal gucken, die Datenbanken durchzuscannen, vielleicht auch mit einzelnen, ja, datenbankübergreifend so ein Statement aufzubauen, erstmal gucken, was kommt denn überhaupt an Datenqualität in so ein Data Warehouse rein. Bis zum wie durchlaufen denn die Daten, diese einzelnen Sachen, wo ich immer das Datenqualitätstool daneben habe, was auch meine ETL-Ströme oder die Daten, die dann verarbeitet wurden, prüft, bis hin zu einer Data Mart-Schicht vielleicht, wo ich genau gucken kann, gehen denn alle Keys von der Faktentabelle zur Dimensionstabelle auf. Also das in einer grafischen Oberfläche mit Dashboarding-Design, das ist sehr gut. Und wird dann natürlich auch zukünftig, man kann es standalone betreiben, das war jetzt eine Frage aus dem Chat, da gehe ich gleich nochmal in der QA-Session ein. Beziehungsweise man kann es standalone betreiben und es fügt sich dann später auch nahtlos in das neue Frontend ein, dass ich das unten als weiteren Punkt dann habe, dass ich dann im Browser meine Datenintegrationsstrecken, also meine PDI-Strecken habe und dann als weiteren Punkt direkt auf das Data Quality Tool dann reingehen kann. Also die Reise geht aus meiner Sicht in die richtige Richtung, wird spannend, was mit Pentaho so die nächsten Wochen, Monate und Jahre passiert. Lass uns ganz kurz nochmal auf die einzelnen Fragen eingehen. Ihr könnt gerne auch noch ein paar in den Chat stellen. Ich fange ganz oben an. Was haben wir? Das, was ich euch heute gezeigt habe, das wird voraussichtlich Mitte nächsten Jahres kommen. Es ist ja auch der erste Entwurf, wir haben ja noch nicht so viele Steps, aber so, dass ihr schon mal einen Eindruck bekommt, darum ging es mir heute. Es gibt für einige Kunden ein sogenanntes Lighthouse-Programm. Die können schon früher diese PDI-Version testen. Das spricht das, was ich heute habe. Wir als Partner sind die ersten. Nächste Stufe im Lighthouse-Programm sind dann ausgewählte Kunden. Ich spreche auch schon mit einigen Kunden, die werde ich dann spätestens nächste Woche dann auch nochmal anrufen, werde mit denen das weitere Vorgehen besprechen. Falls ihr Interesse habt, meldet euch einfach bei uns und dann können wir gucken, ob ihr auch Teil des Lighthouse-Programms werden könnt. Ansonsten, wie gesagt, ist eine Beta-Version nächsten Jahres und dann das richtige Release dann Mitte nächsten Jahres dann angeplant. Gibt es die Module auch einzeln? Ja, ist geplant, man kann ja PDI einzeln lizenzieren. Das wird dann auch so in dem neuen Frontend kommen. Ihr könnt das natürlich auch mit dem VA-Server, so wie ihr es bis jetzt auch gewohnt seid, könnt ihr das lizenzieren. Ihr könnt Pentaho Data Quality auch einzeln später dann lizenzieren. Also alle Teile gibt es als Kombination, alles in einem, oder ihr könnt die Teile, wie gesagt, einzeln dann mit dazu buchen. Sind das die neuen ja, Widget und so weiter von dem neuen Analyzer? Ich weiß es nicht zum aktuellen Zeitpunkt, weil ich noch nichts gesehen habe. Ich hoffe es, dass es genau in diese Richtung geht, dass so zukünftig der Analyzer aussehen wird. Sobald ich da auch wieder die ersten Versionen habe zum Vorabtesten, werden wir auf jeden Fall wieder einen Coffee Break machen, um euch das schnellstmöglich zu zeigen, wo die Reise hingeht. Ja, da haben wir im Partner-Onboarding auch drüber gesprochen. Ist Pentaho Data Quality nur zum Analysieren der Datenqualität, oder kann ich da drin auch dann schon meine Transformationen machen in Data Quality? Da ist es im Moment so, dass es nur zur Analyse da, Pentaho Data Quality, und ich kann dann später mit PDI dann meine Datenstrecken, ja, oder meine Datenqualität kann ich dann korrigieren mit Mapping-Tabellen und mit verschiedensten Sachen. Das soll auch noch oder noch mehr ineinander greifen. Aktuell ist es, wie gesagt, nur zur Analyse da. Vielen Dank für die vielen Fragen. Wenn Sie Interesse haben, Ihre Datenqualität mit Pentaho Data Quality Tool zu verbessern, dann sind Sie bei uns genau richtig. Wir bieten Beratung, Consulting, Support, Training und Schulung sowie eine POC-Durchführung an. Ich freue mich auf Ihre Anfrage.